In 18th century England, one of the most expensive things you could place on your dinner table was a piece of fruit. Not a rare wine, not a joint of meat, a pineapple. It sat at the centre of the table, admired by every guest, and then, at the end of the evening, it was carried away, untouched. It was not cut, nor tasted, nor eaten. The pineapple was only there to be seen.
The pineapple had arrived in Europe from the Americas as an exotic marvel, but it was famously fragile. Unlike other fruits, pineapples do not continue to ripen after they are picked. An unripe pineapple, picked in the Caribbean, will never turn sweet, whereas a ripe pineapple would turn to mush long before it reached the English coast. If you wanted a perfect pineapple in London, you couldn't buy one from a merchant. You had to grow it yourself. To produce one in England meant building a dedicated glasshouse, a pinery. These were marvels of 18th century horticultural engineering, where gardeners used tan pits filled with fermenting bark and manure to generate a steady tropical heat. It required massive amounts of coal, specialized glass, and years of patience to coax a tropical plant to ripen in a country of grey skies. The cost wasn't in the fruit, it was in the total command of the environment required to create it. That expense turned the fruit into something closer to jewelry than food. The prestige of the fruit was captured in a famous painting from the 1670s, which shows King Charles II being presented with a homegrown pineapple by his royal gardener, John Rose. It was a curated moment of theatre, demonstrating the king's dominion over nature by showcasing a fruit that had no business growing in an English climate. If a fruit was fit to be handed to a king, it was a great deal more than dessert. It was a statement about who you were. Which created a peculiar market. If you could not afford to buy a pineapple outright, you could rent one. For a fee, you could carry a pineapple to a dinner party, set it at the head of the table for the evening, and return it afterward. The same fruit might travel from gathering to gathering, displayed again and again by different hosts, growing slowly softer, until at last it was too far gone to impress anyone, and only then, perhaps, was it eaten by someone wealthy enough to have bought it in the first place. People were paying, quite literally, to be seen beside a fruit. And the symbol outgrew the fruit entirely. The pineapple became shorthand for welcome, luxury, and status, and its shape began appearing where no one could eat it. Carved onto gateposts and staircases, worked into furniture, and set atop buildings. With its unique geometric skin and regal crown, the pineapple was a visual trophy that perfectly matched the ornate, playful opulence of the Rococo style. The most extravagant example still stands in Scotland, the Dunmore pineapple, a great stone fruit crowning a garden building, finished in 1761. A fruit had become architecture. The image of wealth had detached from the object and taken on a life of its own. And then it all quietly ended. As faster ships and better growing methods brought pineapples to England in quantity, the price fell, and the fruit that had once crowned a nobleman's table could be bought by almost anyone. The moment a pineapple became easy to get, it stopped meaning anything. The taste had not changed. The fruit had not changed. What vanished was the scarcity, and with it, the entire value that scarcity had created. That is the lesson hiding inside a piece of fruit. The pineapple was never really worth a fortune. It was worth a fortune only as long as it was rare and hard to get, because its value was never in eating it, it was in being seen to have it. Strip away the difficulty,
and it became what it had always been, a rather ordinary tropical fruit. We still do this, with watches and handbags and countless other things whose price is mostly a signal. The Georgians just did it with something that eventually rotted on the table.